Hello everyone, I'm SpeedyGRT and welcome back to our final official video on the MLemSMP, not counting the tour which I will work on later on. So, for this episode, I'm going to do our final super speedy time lapse and work on the giant MLemSMP sign, which you can see over here. I'm also going to be building a lemon underneath and a little cloud with a miniature version of Lem's castle. Now, on other notes, I've actually organized a little bit of my storage. It's not actually organized, it's just stuff moved from the bakery and my shop that I haven't completed, and just moved it over here so it looks nicer for when the world download comes along. So, with that, let's start our final super speedy time lapse of the season. I've finished my final super speedy time lapse of the server, and here's the build. This is the small, not entirely accurate version of Lem's castle that's over in the distance, because it is very hard to copy a style that isn't your own. So as you can see, we're on the cloud, which uses some of the same blocks I used in the rest of my cloud themed base. And if we go inside, there's rooms for plenty of different items. which I will be putting in at the end of the episode. And there'll be very important items that we've had throughout the existence of the server. As you can see, we also have these little bee and slime stuffed animals, as they're called, which were free from one of the shops. And of course, pillager banners, because they can be relatively hard to find depending on where you are. And out here we have a nice little balcony where we can get a good view of this direction of the server. Now, if we go down here, we can see our tree, and we can also see the MLemSMP sign. Now, I'll be getting rid of the beacon at the end of the episode, and I'll show this in all its glory. But for now, it's staying there just till I make sure we don't need to do anything else. I have little paper lanterns, which are to help light up the area during the night, and of course, a lemon, because that is what the lem part of MLem stands for. Now, we have a few more things to do on the server before we finish the part of the series where we actually do work, such as finishing organizing chests, maybe adding a few decorations to this area down here, and going around making sure everything is completed for the end of the server. So, let's go do that now. We've finished upgrading the area around the MLem sign, which I wasn't originally going to do, but then I decided it was lacking color and life. So down here, I've added a small axolotl pond with 3 axolotls. Just one named Axolotl, and then lemon and lime, just to go with the theme of the server. As you can see, there's plenty of little bits of kelp and other natural items down here. And if we go up in the air, we can see that I've used moss and a variety of different flowers to make the area a bit more colorful. We also have our bamboo patch over here, and some of the trees now have vines on them and beehives, which was just to give a few more animals and make everything look more natural. Over here we also have some glowberries hanging from the tree, which built these earlier, and they've already grown all the way down here, so that's pretty cool. And then all along the edges we have planted different crops just to give a sort of border between everything else and our base. Then, if we go over here, we can see that I've actually improved my storage area. Everything isn't that organized, but it has a lot more room for everything now, so that's where everything will be when the world download is. Now, if we go back to our main base, I've also improved some basic areas inside here, added a few paintings, this little fox, and one dedicated to the MLemSMP build that I did earlier as my final time-lapse. Then, if we go over here, we obviously have our little area for the dogs that we had in the beginning of the server, but we also have this new room, which has another painting of my character, because you see, if I take my armor off and all these other items, this is actually what my character looks like. So, obviously the tails are something because of my kitsune origin, and then the rest of it is there as my regular character. In here is where we'll keep all the other important items, such as our armor and elytra, as well as our tools. It also has a few other things like armor stands, jukeboxes, a few other items. And down there, you'll see when the episode ends. I really appreciate the audience members and the members of the MLemSMP for their constant support in making this series. I would have never accomplished everything that I did and met so many very nice people if I hadn't been invited to this server. Back in the first season of MLem, which this isn't actually the first season if you didn't know, Lemonleaf invited me to the server because I was a member on another SMP that they were also on. Now, this was my first major YouTube series that lasted for 13 episodes, or 13 official episodes. There'll still be one more with a tour of the server. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching these videos and for everything involving this server and giving me feedback on my creations. Before we go, we also have to place a few of our lore items in the small version of Lem's Castle. So, we have Please, which is part of Sill's lore. We have Sill's Will from earlier in the season. And we have Sorry Speedy, which is part of Faith's lore. As you can see, it uses the 1s and 0s that I'm still not quite sure the purpose of them. We also have our lovely dragon head, which we used to play some very funny pranks on Sill and a few other people early in the season. Did anyone miss this? I found it quite amusing. We also have Pig Step, because I think that's a very cool music disc and a very hard one to find. We have the animated Christmas 2010 cape, which was a Christmas gift from Lem. So here it is. And we have a Totem of Undying, just to remember the Halloween event, which is where I got it from. So I think the books will go over here. Sorry Speedy will go over here because that is Faith's lore. And then we'll have Please and Sill's Will. And then I think we might not have enough room for this, but I think the cape will go over here. Oh, that looks super cool. And then Pig Step will go over here. I don't have any more item frames, so I think the dragon head might just stay like this, and we'll just take the Totem of Undying out of the equation. So I think this is a good way to remember our series. It has some very important items. And now we're at the end of the episode. Thank you all for watching. Another episode. Not the final one though, there's still the tour. But the final actual working and building episode of the MLemSMP. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.